Hello. So, talking about a different way of looking at sexual energy and creating that polarity. Normally, when we're in a sex act of some sort, we're noticing the difference between two things. We're noticing, our partner and us in the space, or we're noticing, the difference between the upstroke and the downstroke, or we're noticing the difference between feeling that intense pleasure or not, the difference between in and out, up and down, whatever it is, but there's this comparison and this sort of slide and glide, really. And the beautiful piece about that is that the physical action causes us to pay attention. And in that space of paying attention, there is the opportunity to notice two different things. And there's a really beautiful science experiment where I think it's Schrodinger's experiment, where they come up with the concept that the act of observing causes a change, and the act of observing two different points creates a relationship between them. And so in this space, what we're going to do is we're going to choose a space on our body that feels safe for us. And a lot of people, our genitals are not necessarily a safe space, or there's a space on our body that maybe is less threatening or more welcoming to us in terms of experiencing sexuality. For a lot of women, it's their necks, maybe their sides, maybe their wrists, elbows, backs of knees. There are all these sensual spots on our bodies. And what I'd like to encourage you to do is to choose one spot that feels really safe, a spot that you can trust, where there's no trauma, injury, and wounding, so that you can really get into the true space of what that sensual connection can look like for you outside of the traditional space of it. So for this exercise, I'm going to choose the inside of my wrist, because it's simple and easy for me to demo while also talking to you. And welcome you to do this with me, and then choose your own space later and practice as your 2-minute practice for the next couple of days. So I'm going to just, I'm going to feel the anticipation of touching that wrist. Right? Like, there's this energy and this connection, and it's like, oh, I'm going to touch you, right? So there's this tease in the act. And then when I actually touch my fingers down, there's the delight of contact. And then there's the act of stroking, of playing, of teasing. And once I've touched, it's like when I pull away, there's this connection. And it's really about how much attention can you pay in that space, how much delight can you take from the space, because when I say that, it's like I'm talking to you, but can you totally surrender to the feeling of contact? Can you totally surrender to the sensation of your neurons firing? This piece is touching that piece. Because that place of being able to totally surrender to a touch like this or a touch like this is going to translate into your genitals when you do get there, or when you're practicing in that kind of space, that complete ability to surrender to that type of touch. And in the same space, when you're doing the Joygasm ritual and you're here and you're surrendering to that space, and it's the noticing of the difference between you and the energy in the room, you and like each hand, each polarity of each hand, and how that feels, the pulse of the energy in the arc, and that full surrender to that energy space, and the sensation that is caused there, even though you're just holding your body in a position. That same observation and connection is one of the beautiful, it's what makes it so beautiful. It's that noticing, that awareness, right? And also, when you're totally focused on a sensation like this, totally focused, it's really hard to be in your head and thinking about shit. It's really difficult to be thinking about what it is that's going on in your life when you're totally engrossed in a physical sensation. Yeah, so that's your homework. Your homework is to find a space on your body that you totally and completely trust. That has no fear associated with it. And it could be the back of your hand, it could be any part of your body. And if Or it could be an ephemeral space outside of your body, like how hot can I get with this spot right here? And noticing the difference between that spot that you're touching and the impact that it has on your body, your connection between that spot and your genitals, the connection between your hand and that spot. Like, it's just this awareness and this movement in this space of energy and flow. And with that, I say, have fun exploring.